So are you ready, everyone? So you can take out your book, page number 28. Page number 28. So I will explain it. You just look it out. You see the explanation and listen to the explanation properly. And if you have any doubt, please write it down. Okay. So let's start it. The Happy Prince. Of course, the name. It's written by Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde, who is he's an Irish poet and playwright. Okay, and it's a very interesting story. Uh, here we the name itself, the Happy Prince, the title itself uh, tells us gives us a message about a happy prince who actually stays. When he was alive, he stayed in a palace where he has not even known what sorrowness was. He was not at all familiar with the word sorrowness. He has never seen sorrow in his life. But later on, when he dies, he realized about the sorrow of the people. He see the misery of the people, and then he started helping them. So how he helps them, that is what we will learn from the story. We will read it out from the story. So uh, the happy prince the happy prince was a beautiful statue. Okay, so the happy prince, it is a beautiful statue. He was covered with gold, and this happy prince, the statue of the happy prince, is covered with golds. Okay, he had sapphires for eyes and a ruby in his sword. So the happy prince, as it is a beautiful statue, and this statue is made, it is totally covered with gold, sapphire, and he had some precious stones were also there, like sapphires, ruby, and he was put in a very tall column. It was put on a tall column from where he can actually see all the uh, everything in the city. So now, why did he want to part with all the gold that he had and his precious stones? But now we will know that the happy prince, he wants to part with all the gold. Though he is covered with gold, he had all the precious stones. But now he wants to part with them. He do not want to. He do not want to have the same gold and all. He want to part with them. And what is the reason behind it that he do not want? He do not want those gold in his body or those precious stones in his body. What is the reason in the statue? So what is the reason? We will just know it when we will go through the story. Okay. So let's start it. So high above the city. Okay. So let's start it. Yeah. So high above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the happy prince. He was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes he had two bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt. So what actually it mentioned that high above in the city there was a tall column where a statue was standing. A statue stood a statue. Okay, a statue was made in on the tall column of a high above the city, and it was, and whose statue it was? It was the statue of a happy prince. Okay, yes, maybe section A. This chapter is completed. Section B, I have not completed this chapter. So, one who actually wants the explanation, you can be here. The others who had already had the explanation, if you want to stay here, you can stay. I have no problem. You can hear the explanation again, or else if you have any other works, homeworks, and all, you can do that one. Okay. So so high above the city, as we in the first paragraph, it tells us that on a tall column of the city, there a statue was made, and that statue was of Happy Prince. It was of Happy Prince, and this Happy Prince, the statue of the Happy Prince, was covered all over with thin leaves. Gilded means covered. So his statue was covered all over with thin layers of fine gold. He is covered with gold, fine gold, only the leaves of fine gold, and his eyes had two bright sapphires. Sapphires is a precious stone, and a large red ruby that was glowed on his sword hilt. And he had a large red ruby. Ruby is also a precious stone. Okay, both sapphires and ruby are precious stones, and he had these two stones, two sapphires on his eyes, and a large red ruby that is glowing on his sword hilt. Sword hilt means the handle of a weapon or tool, especially a sword, dagger, or knife. Okay, the handle, and on the handle of that knife, or you can say dagger, there is a ruby. Okay, so that is the description of the happy prince. So one night there flew over the city a little swallow. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks before, but he had stayed behind. Then he decided to go to Egypt too. So now one night, what happened? There, a swallow he flew over the city, and why he actually flew over the city? Actually, he wants to go to he want to go to Egypt. Egypt is a country in northern Africa, and also we have a river Nile that flows through the Egypt, which is the longest river in the world. So this swallow is a small bird. Okay, a small bird. He flew over the city one night. Why he flew over the city? Because his friends had gone away to Egypt, and he also wants to go to Egypt. His friend 6 weeks before, his friend had already gone to Egypt, as because where these birds are staying now, the winter season is coming, so they just move from one place to another. When there is winter, they move to another place when they can get the warmness. And when again the winter will start in that place, they will again fly away. They will just they will fly away to another country. So in this way, they used to spend their life, the birds. So this bird, the swallow, he also wants to go to it. He also decided that he will go to Egypt, as he had stayed behind, as his friend has already gone 2 weeks before, but he had stayed behind. Okay, so now he has also already decided that he will also go to Egypt. So all day long he flew, and at night he arrived at the city. So all day he flew, and at night he arrived in a particular city. He arrived at a particular city. Where shall I put up? He said. I hope the town has made preparation. So the whole day he fly, but as the night started, he arrived in a particular city, and he suddenly thought, now as the night started, he cannot fly. So that night he has to stay that in that city. So in a very humorous way, just to make us laugh, he said that okay, maybe the I hope the town has made some preparation for me. It doesn't mean that the town has, he doesn't, what he actually says, he doesn't mean that. Okay, here he is in a humorous way, he said that maybe the town has made some preparation for him. Okay, then then he saw the statue on the tall column, and then suddenly his eyes fell on that on that statue, on the statue of the happy prince, which was standing on the tall column. I will put up there, he cried. It is a fine position with plenty of fresh air. So he alighted just between the feet of the happy prince. So now he put up he thought that he when he saw the he when he noticed the happy prince, the statue of the happy prince, he decided that he will stay there. Put up means to stay. So he decided that he will stay there that night, and as it is and this statue was in a very fine position. He will have plenty of air, fresh air also. So he alighted just between the feet of the happy prince. Alighted means descended. So he uh, thought that he will stay there, and then he just alighted himself just between the feet of the happy prince, so that he will stay there, and the next morning he will go away from there. I have a golden bedroom, he said softly to himself as he looked around. So as he looked around where on the column, on that column, he found that okay, all it was golden color. So he said that okay, I had a golden bedroom. He himself said very softly, and he just looked around the place where he was actually staying that night. He here is the swallow, okay, and the writer has as though the swallow is not a human being, but still the writer has described him as he or him or his, okay. So and he prepared to go to sleep. So just looking the column, he thought he just said to himself that he has a golden bedroom, and then he decided that he prepared to sleep there, to go to sleep there. But just as he was putting his head under his wing, a large drop of water fell on him. But as the bird he was putting his head under his wing to sleep, suddenly a large drop of water fell on him. "What a curious thing!" he cried. "There is not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining." And then he was very much surprised to see that water fell on him. And then when he see on the sky, he did not see a single cloud. And he said, "What a curious thing it was that there is not a single cloud in the sky, and the stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining, and yet it is raining. But where from the rain is coming? Though he can see the cloud that it was not cloudy, and the stars are also shining very nicely. So how can it be possible that a rain has started?" Then another drop fell, and again, secondly, another drop of water fell on him. "What is the use of a statue if it cannot keep the rain off?" So now he just said to himself that what is as he has came to take shelter under that statue, he thought that as the rain is falling on me, what is the use of this statue when this statue cannot keep the off, rain away from him? "I must look for a good chimney pot." And he determined to fly away. And then he thought that he will not be, uh, uh, it will not be good to stay there because raindrops are falling on him. So he thought that he will just go away from here. He will find a perfect place where he can take shelter for that night. And he thought that he will go to the chimney pot. He will look for the chimney pot where he can stay properly. So, and then he decided to fly away from them. As he decided to fly away, but before he had opened his wings, a third drop fell, and he looked up and saw. Ah, what did he see? So now, as he thought that he will fly away from there, but before he just opened his wing to fly, suddenly again a third drop fell on him. And when he looked up, he saw a very curious thing, a very unexpected thing. Ah, what did he see? The eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity. So he saw that the eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and he was very surprised to see that a statue is actually crying. He is very surprised, and the tears were running down his cheeks. And his face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity. And when he saw the happy prince, his face, as it was all made of gold and all, and when he saw the drops falling on his cheek, it was running down his cheeks. He saw that his face looked so beautiful in the moonlight. And then the swallow, he felt very pity on the uh, happy prince. "Who are you?" he said. So the swallow, he asked the happy prince who he was. "I am the happy prince." "Why are you weeping then?" asked the swallow. "You have quite drenched me." And then he said, "Okay, if you are a happy prince, then why are you crying?" Weeping means crying. "And you have quite drenched me." Drenched means to soak someone with water. So you have, as you are crying so much, you have almost drenched me. That means to make someone wet, no? So I have become totally wet because you have cried so much. The all your tears fell on me. And why are you crying? Your name, as his name is Happy Prince, so why he was crying? So he was very surprised. He want to know that if your name is Happy Prince, then why are you crying? Then he says, when I was alive and had a human heart, answered the statue, I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace where sorrow is not allowed to enter. Then he said that actually, when I was alive and had a human heart, here human heart means when he was alive, but now he is dead and he is a statue now. But when he was alive, he had a human heart at that time. He did not actually know what tears were. He did not know what tears were. He has not even, well, he was not at all familiar with this kind of words. He had never seen in his life. For I lived in a palace, as he lived in a palace where sorrow was not allowed to enter, and no one allowed to enter. Any sorrow was not allowed to enter. So he does not know what sorrow was, what unhappy things were. So he was not. He was very happy at that time when he was alive. He was very happy. He do not know. He does not even know what tears were, because he lived in a palace and there sorrow was not allowed to enter. My courtiers called me the happy prince, and happy indeed I was. So the courtiers, they actually called him Happy Prince, and of course it was true. And as everyone called him Happy Prince, and yes, he was very much happy when he was alive, because he was not at all familiar with the things that are related with sadness, sorrow, and all. He was not at all familiar with those things, and that's why he said that yes, it was truly my name Happy Prince was. I was also very happy when I was alive. So I lived and so I died. And he lived very happily and he died very happily. And now that I am dead, they have set me up here so high that I can see the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep. So here he says that, so I lived a very happy life when I was alive. But now, as I am dead, people have set me up here so high in the city that I can see everything. So when he was standing, the statue can see everything. What is going on in the city? He can see all the misery of the city. He can see all the ugliness of the city. And his though his heart is made of lead. Okay, his heart is made of, though every all his it was covered with gold, but his heart was made of lead. But yet I cannot choose but weep. To anything, but only he can weep. So he explained it that how why his name was Happy Prince and how happy he was when he was alive, and now what is going on with him, that he can see everything of standing on the tall column. He can see all the misery of the city. So he cannot do anything here because he's not alive. He's a statue. He cannot even work or help anyone. But just what he can do, he can only weep. "What, is it not solid gold?" said the swallow to himself. He was too polite to make any personal remarks. "Far away," continued the statue. So, okay, not here. Then, as he said that his heart was made of lead, so the swallow, he just asked to himself, "Is it not a solid gold, though he is covered with gold and all? And now but his heart is made of lead." So he understood the feeling of the happy prince, how sad he is that he is weeping, but without telling him, he was talking to himself. The swallow, he said to himself, but he did not make any personal remarks on him. He did not ask him that why his heart is made of lead, as every part of his body is made of gold and many precious stones are there. But why his heart? He didn't make any personal remark, but he just asked to himself, "Oh, his heart is not made of uh, solid gold." "Far away," continued the statue in a low musical voice, "far away in a little street there is a poor house. One of the windows is open, and through it I can see a woman seated at a table. Her face is thin and worn, and she has coarse, red hands, all pricked by the needle. So she is a seamstress. Now he says that the Happy Prince says that far away, in a very musical way, in a musical voice, he said, like as if he's singing, but in a low musical voice, he said, far away, in a little street, he can see there is a poor house. And one of the window of that house was open, and from there he can see everything. And then he said that he can see a woman who was sitting in the table, and her face was very thin, and it's worn out. Okay, it's totally worn out, and she has coarse red hands. Her hands has become very rough. Why? Because it was pricked with needles, pricked by needles, and that's why her hands has become all uh, co- coarse, like rough. For she is a seamstress, and why her actually hand was all pricked with by the needle? Because she is a seamstress. Seamstress is a woman who makes a living by sewing clothes and all. So as she sew clothes and all, her hands has become very rough. She is embroidering flowers on a satin gown for the loveliest of the queen's maids of honor. And now what she is actually doing, she is embroidering some flowers on a gown of the queen maids, the one who actually works with the queen. So she is actually making the she is embroidering some flowers on that gown. So as she was doing her work, so all her hand has become very rough because the needle had pricked her hand. And to wear in the next court ball. In a bed in the corner of the room, her little boy is lying ill. So in the bed, he can see he can he can see that in the bed and in the corner of that room, her little boy, the seamstress's little boy, he was lying and he was suffering a lot. He is suffering from fever. He has fever and is asking his mother to give him oranges. So he's suffering from fever and he wants to eat, eat some oranges, and he is asking oranges from his mother. His mother has nothing to give him but river water. So he is crying. So now his mother she doesn't have anything to give her son except the river water. And that is why the small boy who is suffering, he is actually crying. Then the Happy Princess says, swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword hill? My feet are fastened to this pedestal and I cannot move. And now he requests the swallow by telling him that please take out the ruby from my sword hilt and go and give it to that woman who is actually very poor, because I cannot move from here because my feet are fastened. It's attached to this pedestal and I cannot move from here. So please can you do this for me? So the Happy Prince, he requested the swallow. I waited for in Egypt, said the swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. And then the swallow, he said that actually uh, m- my friends are waiting me in Egypt. I want to go to Egypt. I'm waiting here because I want to go to Egypt. And my friends, they are already there. They are flying up and down the Nile River. They are talking to the large lotus flower. They are enjoying a lot. And soon they will go to sleep. So before that, I have to go there, and I have to. I also want to enjoy with my friend. The prince asked the swallow to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. The boy is so thirsty and the mother is so sad, he said. And the prince requested the swallow, uh, and he said that just stay with me one night and be my messenger. Please do this much for me, as because this boy is very thirsty and the mother, she is very sad because she cannot provide anything to her son. And he requests by saying this to the swallow to stay with him one night long, one night, and to be his messenger. Okay. So next, I don't think I like boys, answered the swallow. I want to go to Egypt. And then he said that, okay, I don't like, actually he's like making a remark. He said that I don't like boys and I don't want to do this kind of work. I want to go to Egypt. My friends are there. So he told the happy prince. But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry. It is very cold here, he said, but he agreed to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. So now the happy prince, he looked so sad, and the little swallow, he was very sorry. He could not help. He was very sorry, and then by looking his face, he felt pity on the happy prince and decided that he will stay with him for one night and he will help him. Though it was very cold there, but he agreed to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. Thank you, little swallow, said the prince. The prince said, thanks the little swallow for helping him. Okay, Ravi Shankar, network problem. So if you are facing network problem, you can see the explanation afterwards. Okay, as we have to continue the class here. So till 11:30 we will continue and then we will stop it. Okay. Okay. So the swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. Okay, good morning, Vinit. You are a little bit late. So the swallow, he picked out the great ruby. He picked out, as the swallow, he decided to help the happy prince by helping those poor people. So he said that, oh, he picked out the great ruby, the ruby from Prince Sword, and then he flew away to over the roofs of the town, holding the ruby on his beak in his beak. He passed by the cathedral tower where the white marble angels were sculptured. So he passed by the cathedral tower. Cathedral is a church here. He passed by the church tower where white marble angels were sculptured there. Uh, and then he passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. He passed by the palace. He heard that people are dancing there. And as he was just moving on, he saw a beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. And he saw that a beautiful girl, she came out on the balcony with her lover. I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball, she said. I have ordered flowers to be embroidered on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy. So now that girl who came out with her lover, she was talking with him, saying that that she hopes that her dress will be ready in the time for the state ball, and also she said that she has ordered flowers to be embroidered on her gown by a seamstress, and she also gave a comment that seamstresses are so lazy if she will be able to complete it in time or not. So they were talking about this about the same seamstress who is actually working hard, who is actually making embroidering on her satin gown, and her little boy, he was he was suffering from fever. So they were talking about that woman. He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on the mast of the ships. At last he came to the poor woman's house and looked in. So he passed over. He can see he just enjoyed everything. He noticed everything while he was just flying over the city. He saw everything. He just noticed all the thing what was going on in the city, and he just passed over the river. He saw some of the lanterns that were hanging. Lanterns means lamp that were hanging on the mast of the ships. And then at last he came to the poor woman's house and looked in and he looked inside. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired. And then when he looked inside, he saw that the boy he was actually uh, he was suffering a lot. He was suffering a lot. He was suffering from fever, and he was like shivering there on his bed. And the mother, she had already fallen asleep as she was very tired. The whole day she was working. She became tired and she fell asleep on the table where she was working. And the in he hoped and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. And then he hoped inside from the window and he laid the great ruby on the table of beside the woman's thimble. Thimble is actually rubber, you can say a rubber that actually is used to uh, put on the fingers before sewing anything. So it will protect the hand or protect the fingers. So that is what uh, thimble is. So he put that ruby on the beside the woman's thimble, and then he gently flew round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. So after putting the ruby on the table, he just flew gently round the bed of the boy where the boy was sleeping, and he fanned the boy's forehead with his wings. "How cool I feel," said the boy. "I must be getting better." And he sank into a delicious slumber. And then, when the swallow, he just moved around the boy, fanning him. He felt little bit cool as he felt little bit warm as it was very cold, but he felt warm. He felt relaxed, and he said that okay, he felt like he was getting better, and then he has gone to a deep sleep, delicious slumber. Slumber means sleep. He fall into a deep sleep. So here we can see that though the swallow, he is also a very kind-hearted bird. He is kind-hearted. That's why he had actually, as he said that he doesn't like boys, but still when he saw the suffering of that poor people, he just went, he just fanned him with the help of his wings. So in this way, we can say that the bird was very kind-hearted. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. "It is curious," he remarked, "but I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold." Then the swallow, after doing his work, he flew back to the happy prince and he told him whatever he has done, whatever he has seen. He told everything. And then he just remarked, very curiously, he remarked that I'm feeling very like warm. He said that okay, today I'm feeling very warm, though it is very cold outside here, but I'm feeling warm, and why I don't know. And then what the happy prince replied, "That is because you have done a good action," said the prince. And then the prince said that, yeah, you have feel warm because you have done a good action. So that is the reason why you are feeling very warm. It means you are feeling very relaxed, that you have helped someone. And the little swallow began to think and then fell asleep. And then he just began to think. And whenever he thinks, he just fall asleep. So after saying all those things, he just lied on like between the feet of the happy prince and started thinking of many things. And then he fell asleep there. Thinking always made him sleepy, and thinking whenever he thinks, it made him sleepy. When day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath. "Tonight I go to Egypt," said the swallow, and he was in high spirits at the prospect. So now, when the day broke, when it was again the morning time, he flew down the river and he had a bath there. And then he was talking, okay, today night I will go to Egypt. The swallow, he said, and he was in high spirits at prospect. High spirits at prospect, that means he is whatever he is actually thinking, the thought of something. Prospect means the thought of something. So his spirits are also thinking that what he is going to do the next day. So he was very happy that he is going with his friend. He will also enjoy there with his friend. He visited all the monuments and sat a long time on the top of the church steeple. So he visited all the monuments there. As before going to the Egypt, he visited all the monuments. He sat a long time. He spent a long time on the top of the church steeple. Steeple means tower, okay, high tower of a church. So he visited the monuments, and then he sat. He actually spent a long time on the top of the church steeple. So now the time has come when the swallow will be going to towards Egypt, so that as his friends were also waiting there. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. "Have you any commissions for Egypt?" he cried. "I'm just starting." So when the moon rises, he flew back to the happy prince. So he again flew back to the happy prince, and he asked him if he have any work for Egypt, as he's going to Egypt. "Do you have any work, so that I can help you in any work as I'm going to Egypt?" Then the swallow, he said, I'm just starting to Egypt. So do you have any work, or do you have any commissions for Egypt?" "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "will you stay with me one night longer?" And then again the prince, happy prince, he requested the swallow by saying, "Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not stay with me one night longer?" So he requested him to stay with him one night longer. "I'm waited for in Egypt," answered the swallow. And then the swallow, he answered that, "No, Egypt is actually waiting for me. My friends are waiting there, so I cannot stay with you any longer. I have to go back to Egypt." And day by day, the winter is also increasing, so it will be impossible. Afterwards, it will be very difficult for him to survive there. So he has to go to Egypt. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince. "Far away across the city, I see a young man in a garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in the glass by his side there is a bunch of withered violets." So now the happy prince, he requests the swallow to stay with him one night longer, and he said that far away across the city he can see a young man in a garret. So garret here is a small dark room at the top of the house. So he can see that a young man, he is in the garret, and he's leaning over a desk covered with papers. He's leaning over a desk, and the desk was covered with papers. And in the glass by his side, there is a bunch of withered violets. Withered means dried. That means from here we can see that this man, this playwright, he is actually this man. He's there from a long time, and as we can see that the violets, that the flower, violet is a flower, it has dried up. He has not even changed the that flower. So there is a bunch of withered violets. Her hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as a pomegranate, and he has a large and dreamy eyes. So his hair is brown in color, and it's crispy like curly, you can say, and his lips were red like pomegranate, and he has large and dreamy eyes. So his eyes are large, and he has dreamy eyes. That means he's a very hardworking person, and he has lots of dream to make his work successful. So he had a dreamy eyes. He's trying to finish a play for the director of the theater. So he is writing a play. He's trying to finish a play for the director of the theater. But he is too cold to write anymore. But it is so cold that he cannot write anything, and he doesn't even have any money with him. There is no fire in the grate, and hunger has made him faint. And there is no fire in the fireplace. Okay, grate means fireplace, and he's so hungry that that hunger has made him faint. He has become very weak, and he could not complete his work. He doesn't even have any money. So now the happy prince wants the swallow to help this playwright also. So now how he will help him? "I will wait with you one night longer," said the swallow, who really had a good heart. He asked if he should take another ruby to the young playwright. So he said that he will. So after hearing those things, the swallow, he was a very kind-hearted bird. So he also felt pity on that playwright, and he said that, "Okay, then I will wait here with you one night longer, and then I will help you." As he had a very good heart, so he said that, "Okay, I will. If you have any other ruby, then tell me. I will take this ruby to the playwright." Okay, students, I hope let's stop it here today. Is there any doubt with you? Please reply. Do you have any doubt? Understood or not? Okay, so we will continue this chapter tomorrow again. We will complete it tomorrow, okay? So I hope you have started, you have understood the thing. Almost maybe section A, section B has already completed the chapter, but still you can see the explanation again. No problem. Okay? Okay. So that's all for today. We will start the other part tomorrow. Till then, take care of your health. Bye, students.